we write letter to all of the people who say we haven't made the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Or we tell them that, okay, so if we are in power, what we are going to do for you? That's the benefit. And sometimes they question us, and sometimes they believe they agree with us, sometimes they don't agree, and they don't believe in us. And sometimes even they slap door, and sometimes they swear to you to say some dirty word.
Dirty words.
Yes, yes,
Oh.
yeah, and but that's the second step, and then we send letter to them to tell them just about us,
Mm-hmm.
and then the third step is during the election day, we call all of them and we knock the door, because I should say that before that,
Mm-hmm.
we do the conversing things again
Yeah.
to all of the potential voters.
Yeah,
to say,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
yes, they say, okay, so
Some
last
kind
time,
of persuading them, right?
No,
No?
no. Just we just ask them their feeling.
Okay.
Yes, to say that, okay, so last time you said that you didn't make the decision yet, but how about now?
Mhm.
And they may say that, okay, we are voting for you, and some people may say that, oh, go away.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
The media basically has a major effect here because before the elections, for example, for the general elections this year, we had the three candidates for the prime minister position debating in 3 or 4 rounds, I believe. So people were undecided. We started canvassing before those debates. So I think about 80% of the people were not sure which party they were going to vote because they hadn't seen the debates yet. After the debates, as far as I remember, it was a bit easier to see because people had already made their mind, but based on those videos
Yeah,
they had
yeah.
seen.
Mhm.
So it's very, it's very important to.
That makes that video and media very important in the whole procession.
And
And
I can tell
process.
that, during the last time conversing and the campaign of the election of the European Parliament,
Mm-hmm.
which happened last year, Tudor and I participated.
Yeah.
I suddenly realized that who's in power, who's in the leadership, it's not the government. It's not the parliament, not the politicians, are the media. Because at that time we were in a very difficult situation because there were some scandals. Yeah.
Yes, it was the expenses scandal.
Yes. In
What's that? It's in Britain.
Well, it's happened in the British Parliament. It's
Okay.
called the House of Commons. And MPs, they misuse their expenses, and even they use the expenses to buy their properties.
Some
Yes.
kind of corruption.
Yes.
And this appeared in the media just before the
Yeah.
European elections, so you can imagine the effects it had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a huge bomb in.
And many voters, they were disappointed, and even once we knocked the door, and people, many times, and people just say that, okay, we are not going to vote anyone because
They don't trust the whole system.
we don't trust the politics at all, and we hate you guys. We hate politicians.
Because they put a
Because-
lot of emphasis
Yeah,
on taxpayers' money. All the politicians, they put a lot of emphasis, even in their speeches. They talk about a lot of output. Where does all the money go to? We're investing in schools, in highways, in industry, in green power, energy. So when things like that appear in the media, especially before European elections, it had major effect, a negative effect on all people and all their perspectives on the party they would vote for. So it made things difficult for us as well, if I remember correctly, because there wasn't.
People swear to us when we knock the door, and people
People want-
slam, and people even try to have some physical attack.
Well,
Like just express their anger.
Not quite,
at
but
that.
They were quite
there was a
angry.
sense
They
of
were-
anger, yeah, and dissolution was the most often word I've heard at that time.
So how would you guys do respond to that?
Well, just to be gentlemen.
Okay.
Because at that time we were told that we should accept this
Mm-hmm.
because that's the mistake of some politicians they made,
Mm-hmm.
which is quite harmful to the trust of what we are doing. But we have to to suffer this,
Yeah.
and we can't say that. Oh no, oh that's not our problem. You know, we have to rebuild the confidence and trust with the voters. And one day it was really, really moving to me. It was raining that day, you know, it's heavy shower, and we decided to converse. But we didn't have umbrella, so it was in May last year. But in May in England it was
it's cold.
freezing. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's like 10, 6 degree.
Yeah, but the rain is very
yes.
cold. I can.
Yeah,
imagine.
and Twitter and I even we hold a big boat, you know,
Yeah.
the big boat like that, and we knocked the door, and then an old lady opened the door and just saw us. She cried immediately, and she said, "Oh, my dear, you really shouldn't have come because we made the decision we are not going to vote for anyone." But they were used to be the conservative supporters for about 10 years, even more than that.
Yeah.
You know, and then we said, okay, we're sorry, we know the situation, but trust us, because we are doing the right things for you. And you know, and then after 10 minutes of conversation, this lady and her husband finally decided, okay, we will trust you again, we will vote for you again.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's quite nice. I think that's what benefits the Conservative Party to use this strategy to go on the campaign.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, and
you guys can really, you know, touch people, you know, make them move in something kind of like that.
well, actually, that's not the strategy. You know, you cannot just to
Okay.
cheat people and to play with people's feelings.
It's real.
Yes,
it's
yes,
real ones.
yes, and I think that's the core in politics is you do things by your heart, right? And you really do the good things to people, then people will support you, they will follow you. And I think that's the main idea. And even for our boss, his former boss, during the floods in the UK, you know, he went to his constituency just to measure how damaged exactly. And also that's, he used to work, he usually work in his constituency. He has an office over there, and every weekend, he was here from Monday to Friday.
Where is it? It's in London? Or
Yes, it's in Eastern.
Eastern London.
Yes,
Eastern London. Okay.
it's northeast London.
Well, anyway,
Yes.
I was really impressed about this campaign, about the fact that we didn't put an emphasis in persuading anyone to vote for us or for a certain party, but the idea was to identify those people that were undecided and see if we can get more information from them. Because usually if you have traditional Labour voters or Conservative voters or Liberal voters, it's very hard for them to change their minds. But when people are undecided, we usually wrote them a letter, like Lynn mentioned, or asked them, try to find out which party they voted for previously, and try to make an idea after that. But it's really nice to see.
Yes, and also that finally on the election day, Twitter last time called about 2,000 people just in that day.
I
to
guess
make
500 would be.
Okay, so 500.
You're more humble.
Quite a lot.
Yeah. Just 500, because he has got this record, right, with all the people who had made the decision to support the Conservatives. So he only focused on those people and called them, say that, oh, hello, how are you? Today is the election day. Have you voted for us? Right? So to make sure that we have a big percentage of supporters.
So you do all the calls yourself?
Well,
For
not just me, all my colleagues
All
as
your
well.
colleagues, yeah.
Even Lynn rang a few people.
Yeah,
It was
and,
really nice to see a Chinese guy, a Romanian guy, a Sri Lankan guy.
To
and
support
who else was there?
the British
To
Conservatives
support a
in Britain.
British,
Yeah.
British Sri Lankan conservative become be re-elected as member of the European Parliament.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
but
was
I
really-
think that's what European Parliament for. It's not national parliament.
Of
it's
course, of course.
institutional.
Yeah, and yes, and for all of the MEPs,
Yeah.
they really work hard for their people.
Yeah.
You know, as I mentioned earlier, Nurj, he worked from Monday to Friday in this parliament in Brussels, and then during the weekend, he returned to his constituency. He has an office, and his voter can come to him and just tell him anything. And one day, I was so impressed as I was having dinner with him just after the work in Strasbourg. He received a phone call.
Yeah.
I said that, Mr. Diva, I'm from your constituency. My son is going to university now. So which university would you suggest? In the middle of the dinner, and the nurse just stop dinner and explained
All the universities.
all of the universities. And he spent like half an hour.
Okay.
And after that, I thought it was his friend.
Yeah.
And he said, oh no, it's from my constituency.
He didn't know him
No,
personally.
no, that's the daily work politicians do for their voters. So therefore, for a Sri Lankan old man who could be elected in the Great Britain, if the situation is like he didn't do anything for the people, he wouldn't have been elected.
Well, yes, it's very important to establish a long-term relationship with your constituents and discuss with them all the problems and help them out whatever it takes. Because as their representative for the Southeast region here, he represents those people first, their interests in Europe, and then the country's interests, and then Europe's interests, of course.
All right.
Yeah,
But anyway, you survived, right? You
Yeah.
are now here, and not just
Yeah.
selected it.
It was a
again.
really unforgettable experience.
If I remember correctly, you also wrote a little paper about
Yeah.
that European election. Maybe
Yeah.
you can tell us something if you can remember now.
Sure, but
So-
guys, I think this topic we can continue and continue. But the time is running out, and I think that we can continue this conversation next time. And
Yeah, I really
this is
want
a
to hear
really
that
good
kind of
conversation.
story. It's
Yeah.
quite nice. It's for me, the very strange experience, but it's very interesting. I think.
Well, it's hard to hear.
Yeah.
No, it's nice to hear a Chinese guy working in European Parliament talking about European elections in Great Britain. I think.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tudor. Don't raise this topic to a sensitive way.
No.
No.
I
Okay.
think it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's
from this
just
point of view.
personal experience. I
See
think
how-
it's
Yeah,
quite
okay.
quite nice.
Multicultural. It's very multicultural in
Cool,
the European
guys.
Parliament.
Okay, wonderful. So let's continue this conversation next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.